Hi, SPED 760 students. This is your instructor, Stacy. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about now the brief BIP process in part 2 of our discussion board activity. So back in week 3, you did the brief FBA. Now you're going to do the brief BIP for Dylan and then also for your student. So here we go. So I'm going to model the brief process via the Super Nanny episode. I'm going to really be focusing this week on the BIP. So then you'll use the brief FBA created earlier for Dylan to develop a brief BIP for him, and then you'll do the same thing for your student. I have the resource page updated for you. It's the same resource page as we used last time. Here's a link to it. The only one that's different is the highlight in blue, and that's the slides that you're looking at right now. If you want to download those, you'll still need all the other forms and the link to the Super Nanny episode and things like that. So I'm going to review now a little bit about about the FBA BIP process, a brief one about what we've done and where we're going. So in week 3, we did an overview of the FBA BIP templates. I modeled the brief FBA using a segment from Super Nanny. So it was about the start of the episode to about 10:50. Then I discussed the brief FBA for Dylan. And then you went ahead and tried it out for the student that you're doing the course project with, just the brief part. And then you uploaded what you did for Dylan's brief FBA and for your students to the discussion board, and we gave one another feedback. Now, in week 6, we're going to do 4 and 5 here. So I'm going to model the BIP using another segment of the same Super Nanny episode starring Dylan from about 10:50 to 21 minutes. I'll go over the forms with you in a second for the brief BIP. I also want to review a little bit about what we said for Dylan last time in his brief FBA before we move on to the BIP. And then I'll have you watch the episode, complete the BIP, the brief for Dylan, and then I'll debrief, and then you'll try the same process again with your student, and you'll upload both the brief BIP for Dylan and the brief BIP for your student to the discussion board in week 6, and we'll give one another feedback again. So here we go. So remember the brief FBA tools. It's this worksheet here. There's a script for the facilitator, and then you had a couple different options as far as what you wanted to type in, right? So when we did that last time for Dylan, here is the one that I created. And so this was kind of mine, and then you also created one as you were watching. And so this is the one I did a think aloud around. So remember, Dylan's preschool age. He has some really good strengths. He's interested in trains. They soothed him. He's really persistent. He is willing to try things. He knows what he should do. He's able to vocalize his needs and wants. There are quite a few target behaviors there. A lot of refusal, screaming, spitting, kicking, refusing to eat, refusing to use the restrooms, things like that. And we kind of like operationalize the target behavior as Dylan screams, spits, and kicks when asked, directed to eat non-preferred items, use the bathroom, and when positive attention is given by a parent to a sibling. When we talked about replacement behaviors, I mentioned when Dylan needs to use the bathroom, he will use a potty chair or big toilet. Dylan will eat the dinner presented to him by his parents. Dylan will engage in individual activities when his sister is doing homework. There also were a few slow triggers that we see here. I want to address those in the FBA for sure. The BIP. Some fast triggers, we'll want to address those too in the BIP. And then remember the perceived function was obtaining control. We kind of thought maybe self-regulation. Also perhaps getting attention. Can he communicate? Not be heard? Is he not being heard? And so the hypothesis was when needing to use the bathroom or meal happens, Dylan screams, spits, kicks to obtain control. Is kind of how we pulled it all together. Now remember, everyone brings a different perspective and context to this type of discussion. So there's not really a right or wrong answer. I would be doing this with a team and we would kind of come to a consensus. That's what I came up with from my perspective. And this is what we created, remember, as part of the week 3 discussion board. Okay, so now the brief BIP tools. So in the resource page, you have a behavior support plan worksheet too. That's a script for the facilitator. At this point in the course, it's really cool because a lot of these terms and things I'll be talking about, you know about from from your reading and working. and doing the more formal, comprehensive FBA and starting to work on the BIP a little bit too. So you're going to, as you're watching the video, or if you were doing this with a family, with a team, you first look at antecedent setting event strategies. So how can the student's environment be set up to help them be more successful? So what can we do positively to positively change or alter the environmental factors that appear to be a trigger problem for behavior? What can be added to the daily routine, removed, things like that. And this is where providing choice, adding events, this is where we think about what we can do to address some of those slow triggers, okay? And then we're going to move on to what alternative skills need to be taught. Okay, so besides doing some things over here to antecedents, setting event strategies, then what skills do we need to teach? What's the student missing? What need to be taught? And we're always connecting this back to the FBA and thinking about the target behavior and the replacement behavior. So in order to get the student to do the replacement behavior, what antecedent and setting event strategies can we work on? What skills need to be taught? What skill building consequence strategies? So how do we reinforce the identified alternative skills? So remember, you need to have positive reinforcement because when you do need to do reduction-oriented consequence strategies, they won't have an impact if you're not doing something positive. So the reduction-oriented consequence strategies would be things that you'll do when the problem behavior occurs. So there's going to be times when, especially early on, that the problem behavior is still going to occur. So what are you going to do? The same time, though, remember back in the skill building and consequence strategies, you want to reinforce identified alternative skills and those replacement behaviors when they're happening. Okay. So there's some good prompts there, and then support for team members. So what kind of materials does the staff need to plan and implement? How will the plan be communicated, monitored, follow up, things like that? If this doesn't happen, even the best plan will not work. Remember that. And so when we're watching this clip with Dylan, we're thinking about the support for the family as the team members in this context. Okay. So let's try it out. Let's do the brief BIP for Dylan. So you'll need the brief FBA BIP script. And so that's that brief BIP part of it I just went over. And then you'll need the brief FBA BIP template, and you'll just be really focusing this time on the BIP part of it. And you might have done the FBA on the top, and now below, you're just going to continue with the BIP. But you can just do it on a piece of paper too, or whatever. But just remember, we're going to submit this as part of the discussion. So maybe you just want to be typing it out. It's up to you. So you're going to view the second clip, 10:50 to 21 minutes. This is the same Super Nanny episode. We're just going to move from 10:50 to the 21-minute mark now. You might view it where you view the whole thing and take notes. You might view it where you view a couple minutes, then take some notes, a couple more minutes and take notes. You figure out how to do it. The nice thing is you can do it on your own time. So take notes in the BIP section, like I talked about, refer back to the FBA as needed, and then after we'll discuss. So after you watch it and fill it out, then I want you to go ahead, and I'll have another video for you where I kind of do a think aloud, and you can compare what I think to what you think, and you know, between my information, what you think, and what your peers in the class share in the discussion board, you get some hopefully more ideas and tools you can use in your toolkit to support all students. So go for it. I'll see you back in a little bit.